Pedro from A&P-Reacts. I'm here today with David of Opera Diabolicus to talk about the latest record, Death on a Pale Horse, out right now on Season of Mist. How are you doing?
I'm great, I think. Considering a hard day's work, a little bit tired, but otherwise I'm feeling great.
And you have a new album out. I'm sure that's exciting to see the feedback that you're getting from fans and everybody who's listening to the album. So how's it been so far? How has been that feedback?
Yes, it's been great. It's I would say I don't read that much. I see comments here and there, and you see reviews and stuff like that. So the reviews have been great. I saw your review or analysis, I would say, also. It's a great analysis and in-depth view on the album. That was pretty cool, I thought. Yeah, it's been great. You never know, what to expect when you, especially when you only do an album every 10 years. so it's hard to know, like, how would people react to it. And for this album, it was also hard because before it was released or where anybody heard it, it was only a handful of people that had heard it before. So it was I didn't know what other people thought of it. So it was interesting because it could really be heaven or hell when you do music for yourself.
And then you put it out, and then you get that feedback, sometimes positive, sometimes negative.
Yeah.
In this case, very positive. And I have to ask you, for an album like this, that's so complex, it has the concept behind it, it has all these different layers musically, all these different guests. Where's your starting point? Where do you start?
I'm starting in the bathroom. No, I think I would say I write music for myself. It's just I've always written music. First time I just picked up an instrument, like the piano and guitar. I never played anybody else's song really. So it's always within you, it's just you write, And I write the kind of music that I want to do, and so I just, it's just a process, and I like the process of writing and. To see how it will, because you have ideas, so write the music and see if you can realize this along the way when you make an album. So I almost forgot about the question actually, but I started writing it 10 years ago.
Yeah, that was going to be my next point. There was 10 years between both records. So is this album the culmination of those 10 years, or did you take a break in between?
It's the 10 years has been how to say, it's by life. It's the reason that it took 10 years is life, death, and other things that have come in between. So that makes it take longer. Plus that I had complications with the prior label. So and those complications were more or less we would like you to put out an album, but we want you to pay for it, and we will take the money. So I wasn't really happy about that.
That sounds like a great deal for them.
Yes, really crappy deal for me. But in the end, I felt like, because I really wanted to, I felt like I had something I liked, with this album. So I want to but when you reach a point, when you do something, you want to finalize it. You know what I mean? So I reached the point and said, "Fuck it, I want to do this all the way, and see if I can just skip them and find something else." And I did. So so here I am, and we're signed to Season of Mist right now, and it feels awesome. So
how much did you take from 1614 in terms of the process that you used to create that record, that you said, okay, that really worked well for 1614. Let me take some of that and incorporate in how I'm going to make this album. Was that a lot of it, or was this starting with a blank slate?
It was, the kind of music that's on that album and the kind of music that's on this album, it reflects me as a person, like with the kind of music I like. Not like, of course, that's only the kind of music I like, because sometimes I feel like, would I even listen to this music myself, you know? But oh, it feels like pretentious. I don't know. Well, I want to listen like more that straight death metal, black metal stuff instead. But I don't know. No, but what I felt like, but with that album, I felt like that had something. I wasn't really satisfied with that album. I thought the songwriting could be better. Like say, the first half is good, but the second half I wasn't really content with. So I felt like I can do it much better. And I would say it's also like a learning process, because that album was a lot of work. So for this album, I decided to, because we were a lot in the studio for that album, you know, that costs money and stuff like that. So for this album, I really took the experience from that album and tried to do it much better this time. To try to like more better songwriting, more focused. I did like a pre-production for this album that was, and more or less that I did like the complete album, but pre-production. So I knew when going into the studio what it would sound like. It was not, I didn't want to wing it. I wanted to be sure, did this work? So I did pre-production, and the pre-production sounds almost as the album. The only difference is, of course, I'm the one singing it. So I don't know. And the drums are like programmed. But all the keys and all the stuff are there. So, and that was the key also, because when you work with other people that necessarily don't live where you live. I mean, of course, Snow lives not far from me, but you know, the guy, we have one guy that played like the Hammond organ and the Moog, and he lives in Brazil. So it's good to like have like good pre-productions. You can send it to them. And I had some like female singer. One of them lived in like New York. So it's, if you have something like good pre-production, you can show this is the way how you should sing, you know. Otherwise, you know, I don't like to wing it. I want, this is the way you should sing like this. So it's more ensures that you know what the end product should be.
Mm-hmm. And that should help the process tremendously.
Yeah, but it's a lot of work. So it's a lot of work before you even recording the album to ensure that you have at least this is where the bar is, you know, this is where I'm satisfied. Then if somebody does it better, I mean, the bar raises. So I had like that. This is the lowest point, and this is what I'm satisfied with pre-production wise. So then everybody like added their stuff too, you know, like you know, so it's came out great, you know. Everybody more or less like so did was on the pre-production. So it turned out great in my perspective.
in my perspective as well. You obviously a big fan of concept records. Where did that love affair start?
I know concept records. It's more like I'm a
storytelling.
Yeah, I don't know what that really comes from. It's like, because it's something like music and stories you can write, because when I write music, it's more like I write in images. So it's sorry for that. And then it becomes easy to make stories out of that. And I don't know if that's did you hear that, but I'm a big fan of musicals. Not perhaps the Broadway ones, but you know, you have Jesus Christ Superstar, you have Les Miserables, we call it in English. And you have like it's more like rock operas, War of the Worlds. There's some storytelling. The music drives the story, and for me, it's like what's the most important thing in the music? Yeah, it's the vocals. So I focus on writing the vocals, and I write the music around that. So it's a part of, perhaps, I don't know, you know, if you have something from your like what I liked as a child, like storytelling, and perhaps I say, you know, that I like musicals. It's perhaps a concept, like a mixture of that, perhaps.
With all the moving pieces that this album has, what was the most challenging aspect of this record for you?
Some songs were took a long time to like finalize, you know, to find the right, not keys like in the notes, but you know, like unlock the right keys to find find so you could like feel like, okay, this is it, you know. So otherwise it's I would say I mean, this was more, some songs were like hard to finalize or like find the right keys, find the right arrangements. Otherwise, I see it's more like opportunities, you know, because I'll say I'm a big fan of. I don't know if that's you can hear it really, but like 70s prog rock, you know, King Crimson, stuff like that. So I always want to add stuff like that, stuff like normally not are added onto the like what I like, but it's not. This is not how heavy metal is done, you know. Like they say, there's a song like, I think it's Bring Out Your Dead. In the middle of that song, normally there is a guitar solo. I say we're gonna have a Hammond organ, like Ian Lord type of Hammond organ. Hammond Oriel is Swedish for organ, so sorry, but Hammond organ solo and that. So I just take the opportunities also to elaborate, experiment a little bit. So, but I don't know. It's I just wander away from the question all the time.
You have a lot of guests on this record. At what point during the process do you start to think about who you want to bring in and work with you on an album like this?
From the start, my kind of way of thinking drumming is Snowy's way of playing drumming, and that has been so since 30 years ago. So when I first heard him on the Memento Mori's first album, that's how you play drums for me, you know. That's how you arrange, how you hit stuff, you know. Like so I write, and I'm not as good as a drummer, but that's how I envision drums, and so that was more or less that was a no-brainer. So I write that kind of music and arrangement that I hear him, and vocal wise, you know, is for the clean vocals and all that stuff. I have always had like much kind of singing in my head. So it's I know, you know, and some stuff I write for Snowy, so pretty. You know, of course, there are songs that I could choose Snow instead of Mats for this on this album, actually. So sometimes it's depending on the story, and sometimes it's just who it can be. But I have a pretty clear like which kind of vocals I want. Female wise, it's more like I'm not that of a fan of operatic vocals, actually. So I just wanted somebody that sang more, I'll say like not rock, yeah, more of that. But that was more like in the end, you know. That wasn't written for anybody specific. But for Snow and Mats, it's like 10 years ago. Those guys was in my head when I wrote it.
You mentioned earlier that you like musicals. Is that one of the reasons why when I listen to this album, it feels like there is a play happening in front of me? It feels very organic. It almost feels like you recorded it live and then you transported it, fixed a few things and make it into a studio album. But when I'm listening to this record and I close my eyes, I could almost see a play happening in front of me. Is that because of that?
I think so. I don't know, but I focus a lot. You know, sometimes when people write music, they, especially in metal, they start, gonna have this cool riff, and then I add the vocals and try to find something. For me, the vocals comes first. So and you know, to blend everything together, because I've tried to write it like so it flows like new vocal wise, and I like to try different type of arrangements for vocals and different like approaches. So I think so. It's that kind of like singing and that kind of how you approach music, like in musicals, is probably like your analysis of it is probably how is it, a reason why it feels like that. I think I don't know. I remember when I listened to your review, you mentioned that, and I thought like, oh, okay, it feels like a stage, like a staple production when you listen to it, and I heard other people say that too. So it's interesting to hear, but because I don't hear that, because my perspective, if I live with the song so long, so you become, you don't know what it is, It's really like, oh, can you pick the three best when the label asked, like, we're gonna pick 3 songs for the like singles, okay, 10-minute long singles, okay, let's call it like that. But I picked everyone. If in retrospective now, when I know which song people like, I didn't pick one song correct. So it's just wild stabs in the dark.
You're living with these songs for a very long time, so that makes it very hard for you to have an objective view on what you've created. Yeah,
it's really hard. It's not. It's really hard.
I have to ask you, you must be a big fan of King Diamond. I mean, you got Snowy Shaw on the record.
Never heard of the guy. Never heard of him. I have actually just watching not a painting, but Andy gave me a couple of years ago as I have a framed T-shirt here in my living room where all the guys of the band are signed, including King Diamond.
So cool. I'm a huge King Diamond fan. When it comes to concept and horror and telling stories, I think that's where my journey started when I was a teenager, listening to Fatal Portrait. I'll never forget it. And I see you got Snowy Shaw, you got Andy LaRocque on the record. How cool is that to have a little piece of King Diamond on your album?
As a King Diamond is for me is of course it's God. You know what I mean? It's I grew up on that, so it's as I say, if I would tell my 16-year-old David, you're gonna, hey, in the future you will make an album. I mean, on drums you will have Snowy Shaw, on vocals you will have Mats Levén, and to aid you so you don't have to play all the guitar solos yourself, Andy LaRocque will help you, and Michael Danner. I don't know if I will faint or die. So it's so how to say, so I mean, it's amazing. Now, of course, when you're old, you don't think about that, but when you know those people, Andy's a real nice guy, and you forget that he's like one of, for me, the best guitarists in the world. So it's for me. But if he says, it's, I don't know if I fathom it, It's because I'm a really big King Diamond fan, especially when I was younger. The first 5 records, 6 is for me. It's no other band back in metal will reach that level.
I'm 100% with you. I'm totally obsessed with King Diamond.
I can go in depth in each song and talk about everything. And I can go on for hours.
It's just an obsession that, as I gotten older, it hasn't died out. If anything, it's become even worse. My obsession with King Diamond. Looking back at your process, seeing that you start with the vocals and then you build the music around it, does that help you create songs on a record that are individual from each other? They have their own fingerprint, if you will, but at the same time keeping them all interconnected so that the album doesn't seem like it breaks with every single track? Does that make it easier for you?
I'll just do like this. Don't see. Can you repeat that? Because I don't know if I understand. Can you repeat that question?
Sure. When I was listening to the album, I felt like you did a wonderful job creating individual stories within the overall story with each and every single song, but the way the songs move from one to the other is very seamless. There's like this red line all the way through. And sometimes it's hard to create individual songs and then find a way to connect them all together. Is that because you start with the vocals, or is there a different reason for why they work that way?
The reason why the songs move seamlessly, I can't even pronounce it, like from one to the next, is more or less because the first half of the album, it was more or less thought like a one unit as a concept. So then I think about that, you know what I mean? Only that I put up the song Siren Call in between just to lighten, not lighten up things, just to change things up. But I think, I don't know, I think the album as a whole, you know, I want, if I would tell somebody to listen to it, I would say start to finish. So there is, I try to make it like not the one song, but it should flow, you know what I mean? Right or wrong to do like that, I don't know. I don't know if that answered the question, but because the vocal thing is more like how I treat each song, you know what I mean? I try to treat each song, I think about a lot about the vocal, that okay, this song is like this with this kind of vocals, or this melody, this how arrangement, and this should be that. I try to think of each song as individuals, you know. I don't want to make the same song twice. And not an album, but the seamlessness is more like I really think about, I would say, the whole album. How it would be to listen to the whole album as a one piece.
One last question for you, as perhaps now you have a little bit of time to look back at the work over the past 10 years to create this record. What was the most rewarding aspect for you personally? Is it the end product of the record, or is there something within it that you feel like it's really close to you?
The process, it's always about the process, you know, where when you write songs, and also, you know, when you see that your thoughts, how it should be arranged and how it should be works, you know, when it's one thing to have one like have an idea when you're at home in your home, like a home studio. And one thing to see it realizing when it channels through vocalists, other people, how it's mixed, you know. So it's how it realizes how the end product is. So that is a big part. For me, it's the process. The most fun thing is, of course, the writing process. Then I'm not that like the recording process isn't that fun. That's more like you know, when you are gonna build a house, it's gonna be like this. It's gonna have a tower and stuff like that. You sketch, you know, it's really fun. Everybody's like that. And the recording process is more, oh, you gotta excavate for hand by hand. No more stuff like all the roofing for hand, everything for hand by hand, you know, because I don't have the economical means like the big bands have. But you want to have the same end product, but you don't have the, you know, you want to have that house, you know, with that contract to do, yeah, with this budget. So I have to go out in the wood and chop down the tree and make planks by yourself, you know. No, but and otherwise rewarding stuff is that I got to experiment also with, you know, like I said, more this time around, do the more like 70s stuff. Yeah, you hear some parts here and there, like organ solos. That is more or less, you know, 70s prog rock-ish. So put that in. That was like very rewarding. Like instead of just do it in like heavy metal, or in that kind of style, it's more like, okay, I put in more of this that perhaps don't really fit there, but I really like it. So yeah.
And making it work.
Yeah, you never know. If it could work, you never know. It could work, it could not work. But I felt like I want to do it because I like it, and that's how I hear it.
Well, David, it was an absolute pleasure to talk to you. Let's say this. Next time I'm in Sweden, if King Diamond is playing, me and you, we go to the show.
Of course. Well, question: where are you living?
Toronto. I'm in Toronto.
Oh, okay, Canada. Oh, all right.
Yeah. So next time I'm on that side of the Atlantic and there's a show, me and you front row will be there.
Of course. Absolutely, man.
we have a date.
Or next time I'm in Toronto.
Yeah, but there's more chances of him playing probably there than here. So
yeah. It's true. Like Andy lives like I don't know 70 kilometers away from here, and you go further south. You know.
We can drive around, collect everybody, and then
we go up to Stockholm and bring the McWeed, and you know. We can bring the drummer from Texas on the way down.
We'll pick everybody up. Just with a session, like just to have a jam session. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. Great record. Thank you for your music and thank you for your time. And we'll chat again soon.
Yeah. Take care.
Bye.
Yep. Bye.